joke sometimes that I have a colorful past. But the truth is, I've done a lot of bad stuff in my life. I'm not talking about murder or child abuse or even theft, but still bad stuff that society does not approve of. Since I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma 2 years ago, I have often wondered if this is a reckoning of sorts, that I did something to deserve this. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer a few months later, it was yet more proof that I was being punished because of my past actions. And when they found a tumor in my brain last year, which thankfully is benign, it really rocked me. The words persecution complex jumped to mind. I am not alone. Many cancer patients wrestle with the belief that they somehow did something to deserve their illness, like a moral debt that is finally becoming due. Past mistakes, broken relationships, addictions, abortions, betrayal, selfishness, or simply not being good enough. Those things replay in our mind as evidence. It does not help when someone says everything happens for a reason, because they're essentially laying the blame at your feet. And we absorb that idea as if it's even more proof. This belief of blame, of karmic debt, doesn't come from logic. It comes from the guilt that we have over things that we've done. When life becomes uncontrollable, the mind searches for explanations, even if those explanations turn inward and become cruel accusations. The cancer becomes not just something that is happening to your body, but something that reflects on your character. Here's the thing. That belief ignores the fundamental truth. Cancer is not a moral event. Cells mutate randomly without taking into account who you are and what you've done. How do I know? Innocent children get cancer. Babies get cancer. Good, kind, generous people get cancer. And cruel, morally bankrupt people live long, healthy lives. You only need to turn on the nightly news to see that. Biology does not keep a ledger of sins. And when you recognize that guilt is a feeling, not a verdict, and that compassion for yourself is not a violation of some cosmic rule, only then can you start to heal. Beyond I deserve this, many patients absorb the idea that other negative thoughts or emotions shape reality, like anger causes cancer. I actually used to believe this based on pretty much nothing. Maybe something that I read in a self-help book, certainly nothing rooted in medical science. It's so easy to believe stuff like that when illness is an abstract concept. We hear stories about people who supposedly beat their cancer by letting go of their anger. If you're sick, the thinking goes, it's because you've been carrying anger too long. Suppressed anger, unexpressed rage, even fury. Somewhere along the way, you failed to process it, and now your body is paying the price. If it isn't anger, it must be stress, resentment, or negativity that poison the body and make tumors magically grow. Again, these ideas about your emotional state causing cancer lay the blame at your feet. You worked too hard, you worried too much, you held grudges, you didn't forgive, you let bitterness harden inside of you. Your body, according to this logic, turned emotional toxicity into physical disease. But there is absolutely no evidence to suggest that's true. Anecdotal evidence, personal stories, they may be compelling, but they cannot prove true causation. You can choose to believe it, but it doesn't make it true. What is true is that Patients don't need even more blame layered on top of an already overwhelming load. They don't need to carry the added fear that being human, being angry, scared, grieving, exhausted, is somehow feeding their disease. They need what everyone needs when something terrible happens without reason: compassion and permission to feel things without believing that those feelings are what's killing them. Cancer is not proof of a moral failure. It is not a result of negative emotions. So the next time you start blaming yourself for causing your own cancer, remind yourself of this. Cancer is a tragedy, not karma. You did not earn this. You did not invite this or think this into existence. Cancer happened to you, not because of you. That is all I have for you today. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification button, and I will see you next week.